What's up, everybody? Corey here. Welcome back to the channel. If it's your first time here, then welcome to the channel. We are going to be jumping right back into Diablo 2 Resurrected again today, and I'm going to be doing a quick build guide for the Frozen Orb Sorceress. This Sorceress build is by far my favorite build in the game. So we're going to go over kind of an introductory type build, and then a more full, like legitimate best in slot type build. So with that all being said, grab some meat or whatever you need, sit back, and let's jump right into it, shall we? Here we have my Sorceress that is currently the character I'm using to magic find in Diablo 2 Resurrected Ladder Season 2. So this is still at a pretty introductory point with this character. That's fine though. Let's go over everything. First thing, the stats. Enough strength and dexterity to wear your gear, enough health to get right around 1,000, and then I would start dumping points into energy. You don't have to do it that route. You can go full life, but when I get further on in the build, it'll make a little bit more sense. Introductory stuff to use: Tall Rashas. Tall Rashas is really good for magic finding as well as just introductory items. So you'll see with this, I have Tall Rashas weapon, Tall Rashas helmet. Do not have Tall Rashas necklace yet. Instead, I have a 2 cold skill 10 FCR amulet that I found. For the shield, Spirit Monarch is almost always going to be the one that you want to go with. Ormus Dusk Shroud will be generally your safest bet for this. Not a Glacial Spike one, but nonetheless, it's got 15% cold spell damage. That's good. Mage Fist is good. The 20% faster cast rate is really what you want to go for, so Trangles also works, but regenerate mana 25% that's on here, as well as the +1 fire skill, makes it a bit better for sorceresses. For rings, we have a Nagel ring, we have a Ravenfrost ring. This is to prevent being frozen, cold absorption, a little bit of mana, some dexterity to help push us over. Nagel ring, magic find. Tall Rash's belt, random magic find boots that I have. Weapon swap is nothing. As far as charms, small ones, you're going to want to go with either mana or life or magic find, resistances, whatever you can. Annihilus, torch if you can get it. For the grand charms, this is incredibly important. This makes this build so strong. This is what makes, in my opinion, cold the most strong, the most powerful elemental type to go with on a sorceress. And that is this matched with cold mastery, the way that cold mastery works. Cold resistance to kind of counteract a little bit of this, even though my cold resistance is still very low. And then a Gades for more magic find. Let's see the actual skills that you're going to want to go with. So Ice Bolt, max it. Frozen Orb, max it. This you can max right off. That's great. You don't need to yet. If you're going for a more defensive route, if you find that you're having a little bit of trouble surviving things, then you're going to want to max Energy Shield as well as Telekinesis. Now, they've actually changed how the wording is on these. I've had people question. I've made videos on this build throughout the years, and I typically have the question, you know, you're not showing us any proof that Telekinesis works with Energy Shield the way that you're saying. It seems like you're just talking shit. Well, when you put points into Telekinesis, you are lowering the amount of damage that goes to your mana. Quick maths. When you have Energy Shield on, for every 1 damage you would take for damage, you instead would take 2 points of damage to your mana. Adding points into Telekinesis will lower that percentage. Once you get it up to a certain point, you can get to the point where you're taking roughly between half to 1 damage per every 1 damage spit out. So monster hits you for 100, you have Energy Shield on, 50 damage goes to your mana. Roughly, obviously you're going to have some some rollover that goes to your health and stuff like that. But if you have things like Talrosh's Belt, that'll even make it a little bit less, because you see 37% of damage taken goes to mana. All this damage taken goes to mana will help build up to increase your durability. As far as the mercenary goes, pretty basic standard mercenary stuff. Inside Colossus Volge, you do not need Infinity. You don't need anything else. This is just what you want to go for. Duriel Shell is great if you can get it in Ethereal Fortitude, or just a Fortitude. And then Steel Skull is great for a couple different reasons. The mana stolen doesn't matter, except, but the life stolen, the enhanced defense, the attack speed, and the magic find is incredibly strong. One thing about your mercenary killing things, when your mercenary kills something, it is your magic find and their magic find. So whatever your magic find is, add whatever your mercenary's magic find is, and every single enemy that your mercenary kills is going to have that combined magic find total. So that's the build. That's the basics of the build. Let's go and kill, I don't know. We'll just go to this standard thing. Now, normally with this build, prior to Season 2, you couldn't do this because these were all cold immune. Well, they're not cold immune now. So having the cold mastery, it makes it to where they take even more damage, because the Sunder Charm is going to break the cold immunity. The cold immunity is broken. Ay, chihuahua. See how my mana dropped really fast? It's okay. We lived. And there we go. Let's try to get back to town so I can actually talk. Now let's look at the full build. So this is kind of an introductory, and I have one that is going to be the full-on everything that you want, except this build doesn't have Sunder Charms, unfortunately. I don't think she's capable of wearing the armor that she has either. They did some funky stuff on Diablo 2 Resurrected where you cannot, what's the word I'm looking for? Oh no, she's still got everything on. So with this, with Diablo 2 Resurrected, they changed it to where you can't bug the gear. But that's fine, because this character is still wearing the full gear. Lots of damage. She good. She good. Let's get this character built real quick and see the difference. So now we have 1.8k life, 2.3k mana. Now these things are still going to be immune to cold, so you're not going to really do anything to them, but you know, your mercenary can kill them. That's fine. Now with this build, these skills are going to be the same, right? Max Ice Bolt, Max Frozen Orb. This is not maxed. That's fine. It doesn't need to be maxed because they changed the way, like they released it and they made it where Infinity would break cold immune, and then they changed it to where it doesn't. So whatever. Max Telekinesis, max Energy Shield. Now I have 91% of the damage that I take goes to my mana, but for every 1 damage I take, I'm only getting 0.75 of that actually hitting my mana. And the reason is because of the build. All the gear is going to be quick run through. So Night Smoke, 50% of damage goes to mana. Way better. You're going to want Sojas. Sojas are really good because it gives you even more mana. Even more mana. And with this build, when it's done, your mana is your life pool. Silk Weaves, increase maximum mana. Spirit Monarch, Mara's Kaleidoscope. There's many different options that you can use for this. Mara's just really, really good for a kind of basic standard amulet. Nightwing's Veil with a 5/5 Cold Face It. Death's Fathom with a 5/5 Cold Face It. We have a 3 Frozen Orb, Ormus Dusk Shroud with a 5/5 Cold Face It. Mage Fists, everything else you've seen. And then we have Call to Arms, which is going to give us that extra life and mana. there you go. That's the build. When I first stumbled upon this build, and this is something that I don't think I've ever said this online. I've been playing this game. I've been playing Diablo 2 since I was a kid. Frozen Orb has been my primary build since I was a kid. If you played Diablo 2 US West ladder anywhere from the years of 2004 to 2006, 2007, you may have saw me. I was noob PKer. That was almost always, or Frosty Tits. Those were my characters' names. This is my brainchild build. When I came up with this build, Frozen Orb was not played this way. The standard primary orb build was a fireball orb build. I didn't like that. I don't like spreading out stuff like that. So I went with an uber defense, focus on mana. And you'll see with this build, it doesn't have much life. I have 1,000 unbuffed life, enough strength and dexterity to put on my gear. Everything else is dumped into energy. And there you go, guys. I hope that you enjoyed this. You don't have to believe that this is my build. That's completely fine. I'm okay with that. I understand. I don't expect people to believe me. I know it's true. My people that I played with at that time, my best friend who I ran to the other side of town because he was at work and I didn't have a car at the time because I was a young teenager, ran to the other side of town to tell him about this thing that I had theory crafted. And yeah, so there is the Frozen Orb Sorceress build. It's just become the basic cookie cutter Frozen Orb build, to be completely honest, nowadays, which I think is cool because I know where this build came from. Like I said, you don't have to believe me. That's fine. That's okay. I'm not trying to prove anything to anyone, just stating things. So yeah, like, share, comment, sub. I'll see y'all later. I gotta go get the parts for my car. They're at the office from what I hear. So yeah, I'm out.